What is up, people? It's been a long time. Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect. Today, I thought I'd make a little bit of a different type of video. I usually only talk about prospect and stuff around the draft itself. Today, there was a big trade for the Montreal Canadiens, and I thought it would be nice to branch out a little bit and talk about it. So let's do that. So first thing first, the Montreal Canadiens are sending Jordan Harris to the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for a 2026 second round pick and Patrik Laine. So I don't think this is a lot to pay from the Montreal Canadiens to get a player like Patrik Laine. Not saying that Jordan Harris is not a good player, because he is a good player. He's an NHL player, but he's a third pair defenseman, and he's very vanilla. Like, in the sense that nothing that he does really stands out. I feel like he's a good skater. He's a decent puck mover. He's 5'11". He defends well, but everything is really like on a third pair level. There's not much more than that. The potential isn't there for a top four defenseman, in my opinion. I feel like if you're playing Jordan Harris in your top four, you might have a problem with your defense, okay? But doesn't mean he's bad. He's just a third pair defenseman, and he's a very good person and a very smart person too. So it's sad to see him go, but at the same time, we're getting Patrik Laine and a second round pick. So, I can't complain. And on the other side of that trade, the Montreal Canadiens are getting that second round pick in 2026, but also Patrik Laine, who's the main piece of that trade. And it's not like he's coming risk-free, right? The guy is coming with an 8.7 cap hit over the next 2 years, and he had mental issues last year and injury issues the couple years prior of that. So he's not risk-free. It's still a risk to go get that player and give a player in exchange. But for the Montreal Canadiens, who had an excess of left shot defensemen, it was a good idea to take that risk and send Jordan Harris the other way and get a second round pick, because you're taking the risk with the money and you're taking a risk with the player that might not play or might not be comfortable to play or might be too injury prone to keep playing in the NHL in the future. So one of the reasons why I think the Montreal Canadiens could make that trade without it being too much of a risk is not only did they have the space right now to take Patrik Laine's salary in, but by the end of the year, they're also going to have Christian Vorak at $4.45 million and Joel Harmia at $3.4 million a year off the book. So basically, both of them together represent like $7.85 million a year, which is basically 90% of Patrik Laine's salary. So yes, it is a risk, but at the same time, those two players coming off the book is really going to help them absorb that salary without it being a problem at all. And on the hockey side of things, if Patrik Laine can come back to what he used to be or anything close to whatever he was in the NHL, then the Montreal Canadiens are really knocking two birds with one stone, because first, they are adding a ton of size into their top six. And I know that Patrik Laine is not a physical player whatsoever, but he's still a 6'5" monster. He's still the type of player that if he parks himself in the middle to take a shot, or if he parks himself a little bit on the outside or close to the face-off dots to take a shot, nobody's going to move him from there. He's not easy to knock off. He's not easy to take the puck off of. It's just a big player is a big player, whether he's physical or not. So it's something that they really needed, and it's something that they are adding by having Patrik Laine on the team. But the second thing that they are bringing with Patrik Laine is a second high-volume, high-precision shooter on the team. Like, we already have Cole Caulfield, but on the power play, we all know that the puck is going to Cole Caulfield. And if it's not going to Cole Caulfield, then it's going to be Nick Suzuki who's going to take that shot. But now if you can have Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Patrik Laine play somewhere in the power play, then you have a lot of options as shooter. And it also makes the fact that Kirby Dach can have his own shooter, whether it's Caulfield or Patrik Laine, and Suzuki can also have his own shooter, whether it's still Patrik Laine or Cole Caulfield. So on the top six, on each line, you're going to have a big-time playmaker and a big-time shooter, which is fantastic. One of the things that I really like for the Montreal Canadiens is the fact that Patrik Laine, even though we've been hearing his name for ever, he's still only 26 years old. He's basically just 1 year older than Nick Suzuki. So if he fits and if he comes back to what he was and he starts shooting the puck and scoring goals and just using his skills and his size and just fit with the team, maybe Marty St. Louis can help him get back to the player that he once was. But if he fits, then he can really be part of that core, because he's not that much older than most of our players. He's a little bit older than Dak, a little bit older than Cole Caulfield, 1 year older than Nick Suzuki. So he can really, really be part of that core, and we could sign him back after next year if everything goes well. Obviously, if he flops, if he's always injured, if the mental issues are still there, then you just let it go. but if he comes back, and if Marty St. Louis can really spark the fire under him and make him come back to what he was, then it's a really, really good deal for the Montreal Canadiens, because he's not an old player. He's not a 35-year-old player. And at the end of his career, he's a young guy that can really fit in the core of that team. So it's a really good trade for the Montreal Canadiens. Even though it represents a risk, it's a really, really good trade in my opinion. So in the end, when you take the time to think about it, I think the future top 9 of the Montreal Canadiens looks really, really good, with players like Juraj Slafkovsky and Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield were all locked in for a long time. And then you have players like Patrik Laine, Alex Newhook, Kirby Dach, Joshua Roy, Ivan Demidov, Michael Hage. It's a beautiful top 9, a beautiful top 6, and it's also a beautiful mixed bag of skills. Like, you have your big guys like Kirby Dach and Patrik Laine and Juraj Slafkovsky. You have your fast guy like Alex Newhook and Michael Hage. You have your big time playmaker with Suzuki and Kirby Dach and Ivan Demidov. You have your big time shooter with Cole Caulfield and Patrik Laine. So you have a little bit of everything. You can form a really beautiful top 9 with a different set of skills. I think it's really good. I think the trade overall, even though it represents a small risk for the Montreal Canadiens, I think it's really good because of the fact also that Christian Dvorak and Joel Harmia, their contract going to be off the book next year. So they're basically counteracting that $8.7 million that Patrik Laine is coming in with. So yeah, really, really good trade. I think that if Patrik Laine can come back anything close to what he was, then it's a big time win. And if he doesn't, then you just walk in 2 years, and at least they tried. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the small little analysis of the trade. Sorry for the sound in the background. I know you hear banging and screaming and yelling. It's just the kids decided that tonight was the fight night. So it is what it is. But anyways, as always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.